Hello, everybody. This is John Merrick Russell for the 26, 2023.
We lose him?
Did we lost him? Well, let's give him a minute to return.
Yeah. There we go. He's back.
Sorry about that. It looks like we had some technical errors, which is beautiful in this type of neighborhood. Hopefully that won't happen. If it happens again, I apologize, and I will need to pass it on to someone else from the city. But it's great to see you guys. I thank you very much for your time and efforts. Been a busy month or two as we continue our journey in this lovely atmosphere in life. First order of business, Amy, would it be approval of past minutes and if the council has read those to approve of them? Am I correct?
Yes, we can do that first if you want, and then we can introduce guests.
Oh, absolutely. Let's introduce guests before we have to do business. Guests, please. I think
we have, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think Malika, you were here last time. Were you here? You were, right? So you guys remember Malika? Okay. Malika is going to, she's the newest member on our Equity Policy Innovation and Collaboration Unit. So she works alongside Brooke and me, and she will be taking meeting minutes and helping me with council stuff, as well as many other things. So I don't know if
you can do me a favor. I would love for you, Amy, to put Brooke and Malika in an email, just in case if I don't have Malika's email, in ways of that communication, so we can go through the pipeline of communications, and maybe for all council members, if they desire that, maybe
Sure.
they probably already know how to go through it, but for me, that would help me a lot in ways of communication and database contact management. So I would appreciate that. Glad to see you, Malika, and others for the equity team and beyond. And hopefully we'll get to know where the ARPA grants in Clackamas County will be either now or in the future. So that'll be great. Hope you guys are all having a good day.
I think we have one more guest.
All right. What?
Yes.
Sorry about that if I missed it.
Oh, no, it's okay. Hey guys, my name is Amanu. I'm a group home provider here in Clackamas County. I've been here for years, working and the DD, program for a while now. So, I'm happy to be here, and I'm hoping to be more involved and especially be involved in this council meetings. And hopefully,
You broke up a little bit there, but it's nice to see you, and thank you for being here. And hopefully if our council members have any questions about group home providers and other reasons, we'll definitely get to hear from you and the voice of Clackamas County and beyond. I appreciate it. Same thing with equity, same thing with all the other lovely intricate parts of what we do and how we maneuver around the county programs and all. All right, sorry about this. I'm a little bit out of it today, just a little tired, but I'll plug through it. If anyone want to pull in with a voice later on, please do as we continue our topics on our schedule for today. Just a heads up for you guys to know on the council what program clock means. My goal in the future of this conversation is to see what you guys were like in these meeting spaces. We got 5 minutes to approve in minutes. We got 5 minutes, for public testimony. And I'm a very visual learner, and I'll put it in our conversation points on a couple of websites and what helped me. But I'm hoping that we can make a program clock that you desire. And in September, you guys send it to Amy and others in ways that we can see how we can customize the meeting space for you guys as council members and beyond. So with that conversation, if you had any questions on that, that's where I'm hoping to move forward the conversation on how to make it a equity part for people with disabilities, but also what you guys would like in the meeting spaces later on. And I'll continue that conversation then. First of all, before any approval minutes, any questions on what we just done? I don't think so, but I just want to make sure that we get that taken care of. All right, meeting minutes. What's the first date, Amy, for something that we need to approve?
Yeah, so at first, I do think we have a quorum. We need 4 members present, and we do.
Yes, we
So
do.
we do have a quorum, so that is established, and we are approving the meeting minutes from 4/24 and also from 5/30. The meeting minutes from 4/24, the dates of your and Jacob's terms were not updated.
Yes, they
So we
were.
wanted to hold off on approving those. Those have been updated. And then the rest are just for your review and approval.
All right, so for 4/24, would there be any objections of the meeting minutes as presented? I hear no objection on 4/24, what the date that we just said a couple of seconds ago. Meetings as approved from the council as presented. When was the last meeting that we had, Amy? That needs to be approved?
Yes, that one also needs to be approved. That was from 5:30.
All right, so for 5:30 as presented, is there any objections of the meeting notes that were made that were sent out a couple of days or weeks ago from the council on that? I've seen no objections from the council of meeting minutes of 5/30, 2023. It has been approved as been, not making the right words right now, as presented. So that those 2 meetings have now been approved for public consumption later on. And I can't wait to read that in our public side on what pages a little later, Amy, when that becomes presented. All right. All right, let's get back to the thing. All right, looks like we're at 243, 244, and it looks like you guys get to talk about how to recruit potential members and events or updates on how the recruitment process may have been versus what it has been and what future events may or not be relevant in the conversation there. That'll be fun.
Yeah, so I was just going to give a quick update on our recruitment for the DD Council. We have up to, I think we have 9 openings, up to 9 openings. Nope, 10 and 8 currently filled positions. So we have up to 10 openings. We're going to open this recruitment until November 1st. So that's a good several months. And we're hoping to get at least some of those positions filled. We don't necessarily need all of them, but we are pretty low on folks in our council, and we want to make sure that we have a robust council. And the positions that we have open for are individuals or family members of individuals that have ID or DD. So at this time, we are good on advocates. We can have 1 advocate, which we have, that position is filled. And then we can have up to 3 providers, and those positions currently are filled. So as you know, anybody can come to any of the meetings and listen and ask questions at the end, but they aren't able to vote. They're able to participate in the conversations, but they aren't able to vote when we vote in on things. So just something to keep in mind. And then as far as recruitment, I was planning on sending you guys an updated flyer that Brooke and I created last year, I think, or earlier this year. I don't remember when we created it, but it's kind of like a simplified version of what the DD Advisory Council is and kind of what people's roles on it are, to provide a little bit more information on if people are interested in participating. And they can also come to any of the meetings and see if it's something that they want to do before they sign up for it. So we will get that out to you guys after the meeting. And then I kind of wanted to open up to the floor and talk about how we can get people interested in applying. What we've done in the past is we have it on our website. We have reached out to our service coordinators on all of our different residential teams, in-home teams. And I think it's been really hard to attract people to apply. So I just kind of wanted to open it up and see how you think we can reach people better, or if there are people in your circles or any events that you know of where we could do better outreach, anything like that. And also if there's any questions. Sarah?
Yeah, please.
Hi, my question was how many spots are for individuals and how many spots are for family members?
It doesn't matter. It's 10 total. So it can be 6 and 4. It can be 3 and 0. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just all of the individuals that apply have to be either or.
Okay, and then my second part is when we do reach out for recruitment, is it possible to kind of maybe put roles and responsibilities? Because I think that's the part that might be a little intimidating about being on a council, is not understanding what exactly their role would be. And I think that makes some folks hesitant because they think they have to come in with a whole lot of stuff like that they need to do, which isn't necessarily the case. So I don't know, maybe if we can make that clear.
Yeah, I think we have that on the flyer, but I will double check and I can send that out in the email also.
Okay, perfect.
John, go ahead.
So as an advocate or whatnot, I am absolutely for the council to consider specific roles and recruitment in roles that may or may not be relatable just for families or advocates. For example, a tax attorney, someone, for example, a lawyer that deals with disabilities, or a financial institution that deals with disabilities, that like a couple of the institutions that are helping those with disabilities in the financial side of aspects. I know we need to have a council vote on that before those positions are filled, but those to me are in navigation helpful or whatnot. It would be very much helpful, I think, for a council to be able to look at and see the pressures of what they have to go through in life. That part. Equity is important in the land and where they live. So knowing what parts that we already have filled in, it will be nice to know that for that type of information of, Westland, Wilsonville. I know it's harder to recruit in the smaller towns, but I'm so happy to have Colleen in here in Milwaukee area and other aspects of life that that's important to me, even as advocates. And there's a difference of someone working in Canby versus someone working in Milwaukee or in that type of area. So that too, in the recruitment process, is as important as the specific areas of expertise that we may need for the council later on in the process. And then my question then will be is to how to call for how are we going to get communicated for the interviews if there is interest, and how will that not be segregated to just one point policies. So that's something. I mean, those things are very needed to know as we move forward with the recruitment process and how we move forward in this step. I understand, like I said, the specialized place has to have a council vote, which may not be today in ways of ideas, but still something that needs to be noted. The where they live and demographics is important, and the interview process and how they are vetted. Even though we're desperate, as an advocate, we need to have a variety of voices in the library rather than just one-sided or one ideals, as much as possible, even as important as families are, or just an advocate like myself with self-determination.
As far as types of individuals, as far as like professions and individuals and service, I think you were saying there's a couple of different types of people that you would want to have on the council. We have to follow the current bylaws. Now we can revisit writing those and changing that at some point. But as it stands, it has to be individuals or families of individuals in service. So they could be a family of an individual in service or an individual who's also a lawyer, but they do have to have those qualifiers.
And I guess also it's kind of referring to who, the person who mentioned about what is their role on the council. If we have specified roles, as much as important as it is to me to have a couple of places like an educator or certain other aspects of people's life with disabilities, I'm thinking 3 positions personally on the advocate side that are specified roles like the tax, like the lawyer, or like education, or whatever the council decides on 3 specialized ideals as a whole. But another thing that I hear you, Amy, another thing that might be helpful for the council is having a subcommittee for advocates that responds back to the council for those advocates who might think this might be a little bit too overwhelming, but to put their voices up heard. Having that subcommittee would really help recruit the process, I believe, in ways of them feeling comfortable with the environment and being out of a space that's maybe a little bit too intimidating. Not that many people have public speaking at Clackamas Community College, like the Portland Winterhawks, or other aspects of, educational life, as teens or as young adults. And so those are 2, I would love to have a subcommittee in ways that would gain them that confidence to be in this type of environment, public or not public records, in ways that would help them be encouraged outside of just natural supports and non-natural supports.
It looks like we have a few comments in the chat too.
Thank you.
So Shasta would like to add the roles and responsibilities. She would also like to include the new mission statements. And then wanted something that she can share, which with the families that are maxed out and need easy to read info. Yes, so I will send the flyer. I think I can share that with you guys if you want. I have it open, but I will email it out for you also. And that also has a link on there for how to apply. And then Colleen says Facebook Nextdoor are good places to advertise. I think we do. I know that we do that for hiring recruitment. I can double check on where that gets posted, but I want to say we do, but I will double check on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to. Sarah Lambert says that she can ask to post flyers at the day programs for adults, and she would be willing to contact the ones that she has a working relationship with to get permission to do that. I think I got that. I think that would be great, but not my place to make the call. And then I can show you guys the flyer if you want to see. I think it's pretty clear on in plain language on what the council does right now. I don't know where we're at time wise. Let's see, 5 o'clock. Did you guys want to see that, or John, do you?
I think that's important. I understand. Our next time clock is right now at 5 o'clock, so we still have about 6 minutes.
I will just show you guys quickly. Let me know if you can see this.
Oh, okay.
Tell me when you're ready to scroll down.
I'm good scrolling down. Are you guys? I'm good scrolling down. I have two suggestions so far. Okay. Like the bullet points. Anyone have a questions here about this, how it's presented for families or for advocates? Sorry, my thing's a little bit scrolled down. Is there any hands up right now? Nope. All right, so my suggestion is you scroll up, Amy. And it does not need to be taken in consideration, but just a suggestion, come join the council should be maybe underlined as a statement. And then maybe make the picture of of the people a little bit wider to about right here to right here on the screen, in ways of people seeing the people rather than the stats, because they might be intimidated with stats, but not the people advocates. So just a suggestion, just so the head become a little bit bigger in the way the people joining each other were advocates. So just like I say, you don't need to take that advice, but as an advocate, but I just think making a welcoming position in the people, it's a great graph. I just saying a little bit more that could maybe entice those people who might be visual learners on that.
I'll see if I can mess
It's
with
gonna be
the
hard.
pictures
Yeah, it's
here.
gonna
I
be
think it's-
hard. Yeah, I can see how it's gonna be hard on the bottom part of it.
Yeah, it makes the text smaller, so it's like a
Exactly.
choice between
Nope.
sizing of the picture versus sizing the text, but I will definitely look and see if I can.
Absolutely
a little bit
been there,
better,
done it.
for sure.
Totally understand where you're coming from. But you did make the bullet point, just to put a reference point in, so it might, highlight the bullet point and then show people's eyes if you make it bigger, smaller on the title on the bottom part. But for me, it looks good.
Okay.
I enjoy seeing that. Yep. Did I have another topic on that? Anyone else having opinions on recruitment outside of and what Clackamas County should be doing on that?
Shasta shared that she would like the mission statement to be on it.
Yes, thank you. All right, yes. Sasha, would you like the adapter? I personally don't care. Would you like the long form or the short form? You can write it down if you don't have time on camera.
Wouldn't that make it a little too wordy? Would it be better if there was a link to the mission statement so people could just go look at it? I think it'd make the flyer a little too, there'd be too much stuff on it.
I think right now we're working on getting it on our main DD page. So it's a work in progress. But it's not the council's mission statement. So maybe we could work on getting that. I know that the pages for all of the advisory councils are pretty standard.
Yeah, that was another topic I wanted to talk about, you guys.
But maybe we can look at getting it onto that page, or I can add it in with, maybe I can add it in with the text. So I can, like, can we get this in the notes? I will see if I can adjust the part where it has information about how to apply, and I can add the DD Council's mission statement underneath that. So they can read that and then they can see the mission statement underneath. Does that make sense? So that when they go to look at where to apply, they can see that. Would that work?
Sounds good to my side. Any comments? I will read your statement, Sasha, that I'm trying to catch up on. Sasha's pointing out that it should be not the bullet points. Personally, I would put the bullet point somewhere else. Maybe also make another file for that and direct it to other people and just put the mission statement in general. Bullet points are important, but make it another PDF maybe, in ways of just making this one slide. This is what we do, why you have to do it, kind of thing, and then put the mission statement. And the reason why I put the link down here, it's very hard to navigate through your system on the Clackamas County page. It's very not standardized, even with standardized or what was said. So I had to find this link by searching Google rather than doing it from the Clackamas page. So please try, when you put this notification out, try to make content be a little bit more fluent in ways of going back and forth to page.
This one is our past meeting minutes.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to point out is I would love to have the mission statement on our page. That's the public page. Also, and I know you can't do it on the group page, with the Veterans Affairs or Council or other things, but I would like us to have a more customized vision, and maybe we can put that mission statement onto the right side, like the Veterans Committee has agendas on there. But what I'm trying to point out also is the fluency of how to be invited to these opportunities is very hard to navigate. Having maybe a page later on in life to how to navigate through the council web pages would be really nice. Definitely, if we make an revised edition like the mission statement for those with disabilities and make it like plain language and stuff like that, how to navigate through the system, because it is harder. For me, I'm fine with it because I know how to navigate some of it, but it's very difficult and unwelcoming when when you try to say to invite people, when the navigation process, even on an iPad or a touchpad to, whatnot, we have a lot of work to do on the formatting of how we communicate our council. And I might be making not as a issue out of non-issue, but to me, it was very difficult to navigate, certain things, and I don't want it to be as difficult for later on.
It is challenging. We don't have much say over the website and how to navigate it. It's our public and governmental affairs folks have the main control over that, and it's very specific on how they word stuff. So there's not a whole lot we can do, but we can definitely try to make improvements for sure, because it is hard to
I
navigate.
see your hand, Sarah. I'll try to keep it short, but if the council would allow myself or someone else on the council has the same type of ideas and ideals and try to add content in there, like the mission statement or like certain, events happening around town, like other councils in Clackamas County, I'm definitely willing to take a meeting with that department and try to explain it myself, knowing that there are explanations that may or may not need to be told on the end, back end service versus front end services, in ways of rules and regulations. Sarah, you had your hand up and you put it down. Is there something on your mind?
I was just going to add in, I liked the flyer with the bullet points. I think that I know the mission statement is really important, but I think it needs to be simple, super simple, so that it's understood, especially if we want families and individuals to come in. If it's too overwhelming, they're not going to be interested in it. So I think that the mission statement is really important. Maybe we can share with individuals who have questions or like the links, but it has to be simple, or else we're going to lose people. That was all I wanted to say.
So we have two different versions. I personally do understand the mission statement thing, but I think we can put the mission statement somewhere else in ways that can be in the process of while we're finding that, and put the bullet points in would be a suggestion. But do you need a vote, Amy, in what we agree on this, or would you like to take it on your own with the advice that we've given to you today?
Oh, sorry, I'm on mute. I think that I'm going to show you guys one more thing, and then I will back out. So this is the advisory board and commission. This is the page that people are directed to apply, so you can apply here. I was thinking as far as the mission statement, I can put it under here under the description, and then at least it'll be on the page where they go to apply.
Exactly.
And we'll leave the flyer simple. I'll see if I can make those minor tweaks, and then I'll put the mission statement on here, if that works for you all. And then if somebody could email that to me, the final one, that would be great.
Is that not in our note?
It might be, but I don't think I have it.
Yeah, because I know we did two versions, and you could probably put the first version that we approved as the council, and the revised version we could do later on a page for, accommodations later on. So if someone has the version, that will be great for later on. It might be in the chat records too. Amy,
I can take a look.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find that. All right. Looks like we got that out of the thing about recruitment. Is there any other questions about recruitment? Any events that you guys are going to recruit in the next 2 months that we should know about? Nope. No director events or anything? Thank you, Amy. Alrighty, looks like we're on the next topic. And Stacy, in the ways of budget update reports. And for my knowledge, are we talking about the last week of budget or 2 months ago budget?
Good question. I don't honestly know what I'm supposed to report out on, and I'm not sure I have anything to report out on today in terms of budget. So if there are specific questions, let me know. I may have to loop back. I don't really have any specific budget updates yet at this point in time, though. Whether we're talking about, well, the county budget's going through its own approval process, but I have no information about our DD budget yet. So, but if there
Okay.
are specific questions that people have that they would like me to, to try to address and loop back on, I'm happy to do that. We usually get our budget information later. So we sometimes don't see some of the information to report out on until August or September.
That because of legislative
Yes.
process and ways in 90 days until the
Yes.
counties have to take action until they can make an opinion.
Well, yes. And through the legislative process, then finalizing our contract, seeing what the workload model provides. There's a whole bunch of pieces that have to work
October.
together, forecasting, all of those things.
Yeah.
So
And how are they going to survive if they're not able to know what the budget is currently in the next 3 months?
I don't know, but apparently this happens every biennium. This is the first time I've been in this position when we've done that, but apparently we kind of operate blindly for a bit. And that is typical for the first part of a biennium, I'm being told. So, and you know, that's been happening for a long time. So I honestly don't know. I think we just go on the fact that we trust that it's going to go through and our contract's going to be signed. And yeah. But yeah, we kind of just operate, and we operate a little bit conservatively though. Like, we are not adding new positions. We're not approving overtime for anything that's not revenue generating in our program. So we do become a little bit more conservative, not knowing what our budget's going to look like, but we do operate a little bit blindly for the first few months. Yeah.
And is there a LFO that you guys communicate with that will at least give you a heads up on what's happening?
A little
anyway
bit.
Next month?
Yeah, a little bit. It is LFO, and then honestly, our communication comes in various ways, shapes, and forms. So, and again, this is my first time through this process, so I honestly don't know, but I do know LFO is part of the process.
I'm gonna put an emoji on there for fun since Joshua put hers on.
Okay.
So I do have a couple of questions. Colleen and Mimi, Sarah, and yes, Sasha, do you have any questions outside of 90-day limits that for Clackamas County that might help perspective wise as we do what we do? No, and nothing on education and all. All right. I want to make sure you guys feel included too. Any cuts because of Clackamas County priorities still intact in the way of the courthouse or other ideas that will need to be told by the council that might need to watch out for October, November, December, where, for example, the courthouse, you know, is a multi-million-dollar project and the county has requested the budget to be slashed by certain numbers.
Yes. So the courthouse definitely impacted the county's budget, especially the general fund. Our program doesn't get general fund. So I can tell you that we are not losing any positions within the DD program. We did give up vacant positions. And we can, because our program doesn't get any general fund, we generate the revenue through our progress notes to pay for the majority of the our services. We can ask for positions back as long as we can show that we can fund them. And so, but we did have a bunch of vacant positions in our budget that we did give up to help in balancing the budget process, but it was more, it had nothing to do with the general fund cuts. Our program doesn't get any general fund cuts. So, and we still have vacant positions we're currently filling. So
So you gave up vacant positions, but you are now fulfilling those vacant positions. And I
We
see
gave up
you
a few vacant positions. We still have 10, we're in a service coordinator recruitment now. We're trying to fill 10 positions. So we gave up approximately 10 positions. We still have 10 positions we're working on filling. And if we need more in the future, we can ask for these positions back. We just have to show that we're generating enough revenue to pay for them. And that's how
Is
our
that
program.
part of the Christmas tree bill in short session, or is that part
I don't know
of
what
just
that
the
is.
process
That's
to
the
gain back
process.
those time?
Yeah.
Okay, Roxanne, I do have a follow-up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. So, um, the reason why we gave a vacant positions, I think Stacy probably can speak more to this, but I believe because having onboarding new people and having new people, it impacts payroll and HR, and they were getting cuts, I believe. So that's the reason why. But I'm just thinking in my head, like, okay, so there's 10 vacant positions, and then that's just the ones that we didn't let go of. That gives you an idea of how staffing right now is with the DoD program. To give you an idea, like we're all working at like a high capacity right now, because that sounds like what, 20 positions, that half of which we can't fill. So
So on another question that I had, council member wise, is this a 5% increase that was kept by the pandemic pay or whatnot from ODDS services in ways that would help group homes and other situations? The problem that I've heard is that they are spreading it out to more entities and more buckets in ways that they're really getting a decrease. Are there any languages like that in a way that because there are more buckets in the pot of general funds that may affect Clackamas County and the services that you provide because of those types of languages or other ideals that might be concerning, that we should maybe understand better for the future as we move forward to the budget talks in October or September?
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking.
My asking is there any talk of a certain increase, but really it's decreasing the budget in ways because there's more things in the pot? And just a FYI, this does not include the parent bill in particular. So, but I just want to make sure that legal wise, we understand what, we hear one thing from one department, but in reality, it might cut in other departments because there's more people or more services that need to be considered inside that budget. And then I'll be following up with the LFO question after that. Because the LFO LFO or someone put more things in the pot, it means really a decrease rather than increase is what I'm trying to communicate. You're not hearing any of that on your end?
I
Okay.
don't know. I
right,
don't
that's fine.
know. And I mean, yeah, I don't have any details like that to report or know enough about it yet to report on that. So I can't really speak to that.
And I'm sorry I can't push forward on that in ways of, of making it better communication. And I apologize if I'm misstating it to anything else, to the state and community at hand. I guess another question I would have is the LFO sometimes, at least at this round, may or may not have languages for those with disabilities. How does Clackamas County communicate with LFOs and departments in ways of budgetary? Does it go to ODDS? How does that?
We don't communicate with them. Yeah, we don't communicate with them directly. ODDS communicates with them, and then our information comes down.
And where does Donna Lisa fit into this process?
Yeah, I kind of fit her into the ODDS pot, although she's
separating it.
Yeah, so she does. We get a lot of our information through Donna Lisa, actually. She's privy to a lot of that information. So sometimes we know from her prior to even things coming out from ODDS. And she's with the AOC MHP, and that's the Association of whatever mental health programs. I understand.
I understand, Stacey. I just need to make sure the separation is noted in ways of how we can better communicate and how they can better communicate to us in ways of like the 5% or other conversation points in other spaces that we have that might be misinterpreted by me or other points of the members of the council that might have questions. For you guys who do not know who Donna Lisa is, she is a representative of all CDDPS in ways of legal laws and other aspects Please respect her time and efforts and ways of her personal space versus professional decor. So that would be nice on my end on that. I just using it to see the comparison of how Clackamas County communicates budgetary notes and how we can better get informed. Yeah, I heard you guys got like 89% too, but I don't think you guys had that information rather than 84%, but I'll ask that in October. It sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
no problem.
we were gonna guess like 86, somewhere in the middle. So
Yeah, something like that.
anyway, yes. It'd be great if it were 89.
Well, we'll see what happens on that, but it sounds like budgetary things are on track of the usual legal precedent. May I ask what Kim is? With I respect
Yes.
you, Casey, but I want to make sure
Kim is
that our
on
elders
leave.
are respected too
Yeah.
and the knowledge that they have.
Yes, Kim has a lot more information than I do because she's been through these processes before. Kim's on intermittent leave. She'll be back in July.
Okay, understand. I wish I could have given the council a little bit more on that side, but I appreciate what you could do in the abilities that we try to grow as in. All right, next topic. Any questions? First of all, on the last side of budgetary, Mimi, Lisa, glad to see you, Lisa. And Sarah, Colleen.
I don't have any question. Thank you.
All right,
So far.
just make sure that you guys include rather than the advocate. You've been through the only opportunities they have sometimes in life. All right,
Thank you.
absolutely. So another thing that is very important to me is to know how to run these meetings in ways that you guys desire, not just me. And so something that really helped me when I was in school was something called a music clock in radio broadcasting. And I'm going to put in a link here that helps me, but I'm a very visual learner in ways of an auditory learner also. But I would like to know what you guys dream and what your meeting should be implementing. So I'm suggesting to the council, and I would love ideas of yours. I know Sasha mentioned that she would like 5 minutes for people who are in program, kind of like what Sarah Gelser Bloom puts in the 5 minutes at the end of people who are services and try to invite people who are in services to talk to the council. So my question to you and today is, are there any other elements that I might be forgetting that you guys would like, but in a way that maybe you guys can build your own clock and bring it to the chair and the co-chair, and as we build this. Another reason why I would like to try to have this conversation is because, like I said, I'm a visual learner. I loved an adaptive page for the council in ways that they can see, how the chunks are distributed during the meeting time, and might hopefully gain interest because it's a visual form rather than just a written form. Any thoughts if I'm going the wrong direction, or what you guys would like to add on this idea as we build our meeting agendas and other aspects so you too can have a voice in the process? Sounds like not today. All right. So I'm welcoming any suggestions in ways of building a clock in a way of what you guys would do, and hopefully submit it by September, the end of September. Like I can try to build one up in the next month and maybe get distributed. Are there any suggestions from the county office of maybe ways to communicate this in a more efficient way to the public? Okay, I agree. In ways that I'm hoping to send it a week beforehand. Pastor said, I would love to have some sort of heads up what you're building the agenda, like a call or agenda item through email. And I agree, it should be a little bit quicker out turnover in ways of a week or two. And matter of fact, I wish we can put it on the webpage. Is there any possibility that we could put something like the agenda? I don't know, remember the process, Amy. I know you do it. I understand that. In a way that we can have a meeting, the core team can have a meeting in the beginning of the month. Can it be done? Can the turnover be in a week, onto public forum?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that. We can get that up after our meeting, within a couple of days. And then if people have agenda items, you can always feel free to email them to me beforehand. And we can always get that on the agenda. I think what we're trying to do is meet at the beginning of the meeting month. So if we're meeting, our next meeting is in September, I think we're gonna try and meet late August is what I remember.
Exactly. And I guess what I'm asking is there any way we can make a color pie chart of course, subject to change or, agenda, add-ins or, exclusion that would help invite people and see visually what the agenda might look like? Is there any office tool out, maybe Excel or other things like I put the link of selector OCS programs that might be able to help communicate that as we try to build a time, or would that be too much effort for the county to help provide for that type of resource?
I think we can totally do that. If you have an example of one that you've used or that you like the formatting of, if you could send that, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
So that we
I
can-
only know broadcasting software and usually they do it automated and I do not know time. That's what I'm asking the county to help me with in ways of try to find if it's an Excel sheet or Google or something that someone might know how to build an agenda. That would really help, I think, in expanding accessible care and the advisory council. And also, I would love your guys' opinion, what you think your agenda should look like in ways of suggestions.
So I think we don't have that programming, but we have the basic Microsoft functions. So we have Excel, we have Word, we can create pie charts, we can do any sort of that thing. Malika is a whiz at that stuff. So we can work together on that. And then Shasta, literally anytime, even if we were to hang up after this call and you were to think, gosh, I really want to talk about this next time, you can email me then. So there's not like a specific time that you can or can't email if you have something that you want to add to the agenda.
It'll be considered, Sasha. So yeah, that's something that would really help me understand certain things in ways of hopefully making a welcoming environment. If people have elements even in one meeting that they truly enjoy, in an element like what Sasha was referring to, putting someone, inviting people from the system for 5 minutes to talk to the council, or public, not public records, but the public can speak for 5 minutes. Those type of little chunks really, I think I'm hoping that you guys feel included also as we build the format of just the agenda, not just also do the subject. Definitely when you put the subjects, usually I contact you guys monthly about news topics. So please, council members, feel welcomed. Brooke.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because you guys meet ahead of time to build the agenda, you and Lisa and us. I'm wondering if we want to send like either that day or the day before to send something out to everyone saying, are there any agenda items that you want us to add in to make sure that we have on the agenda as we build that?
I would love to do that 2 days before a meeting in ways that people, we put either a parking list or, put a calendar date on would be great. And having those suggestions so we don't have, uninvited topics be talked about, during times of, as we try to get through what we do daily. Sarah.
So I was kind of wondering if there would be maybe a way that would be helpful at the end of each meeting to say, anybody have any ideas, take like 5 minutes of what we want to tackle next meeting, and then we can kind of brainstorm those ideas and then maybe send something to Amy about, here are my ideas to discuss next time, so that we kind of have a purpose and a month to consider, we brought up community outreach or this or that or whatever, what's everybody's kind of ideas. It might help consolidate all of our thoughts and create a really productive agenda. I don't know, just kind of my thought. Or maybe even in the next 3 months, we'd like to tackle these things. If anybody has any ideas, send them to Amy and she can put them on the agenda, or just something to get our thoughts a little more gathered so that we're more productive when we're here spending our time.
Okay.
I think would be cool. That's all.
Okay, that will transition us from a little bit of what Lisa's topic will be at 5:15. And I know I'm a little late, but in ways of prior, like when we have an idea talk, when we set up a guest, what time would you guys like the guest to come in of the past topic we talk about into, what the new topic will be. So I think that's a good idea to know where we are going and how we are forward to this. Do we need to move? It looks like we need to move forward on our agenda that we have today, but is there any more remarks, Amy, that I see Sasha and others try to respond towards? That's a question to Amy.
I was just gonna note that Shasta put in the comments that she'd like an update on the ONA hours allocations. It's a huge topic of conversation in the community right now. People's kids' hours are getting cut into a fraction of what they were, and this is a lot of panic. So we can do that at open floor or put that on the agenda next time.
And if I remember right, per language as of today, that would be correct, right?
Or what do you mean, John?
Being
Per language as
hours
of-
allocated being cut. I will ask in September or October. I think that's a comment that should be, what I heard before the session ended was that no hours will be cut for a year and then redetermination the next year. So
That's correct. That's correct. And there is information going out to families this week, at the end of this week on this topic. There's frequently asked questions coming along with service grouping information. If we have time at the end, we can talk more about this, or we can add it to the next agenda and review it
we'll
again.
definitely add and while doing fire danger, I want Lisa to have her
Okay.
time on that side. I saw a hand up, come down and up. I apologize, my attention. Who was that? That may want to speak on behalf of ONA on a last comment as we move forward.
Oh, I raised my hand. I just think Stacy kind of answered my question, but I was trying to clarify if this was something related to the end of the public health emergency. I do think though that just based on the urgency in this question, I know if we do have time to talk about it today, I think it would probably be good. I don't know what our time looks like. Yeah.
I'm going to put in the topic if we have time, while speaking, but I also want to get through the agenda topic for today. But I do want to point out, these are things I'm hoping that council members can also contact Amy in ways that we can co-collaborate with chair and co-chair and set up those dates that the other person was referring to in future plans. So yes, we can probably take the question most likely this time, but I would appreciate it is a pressing issue. I get the need for the next 2 months. I know how many times I had to do redetermination and front end care of that type of thing. So I understand that.
I also want to make sure we leave time. Our guest had a couple of questions or suggestions maybe, so I do want to leave space for that at the end.
All right, well, we're at 5:30 and I'm right on the clock on my side on how we presume meetings for the future. And I hope to hear you guys' suggestions of what add-ons and what other things you guys would like in the meeting as guests come in or other aspects come in. That's the main point for that program clock question, and hopefully make a modified edition for later on. And that's like my third goal on that topic. Yeah, it's interesting on that side. I'll talk about it a little bit later. I see your point, Dasher. About ONA and all that stuff. All right. Looks like we're gonna go fire danger. We talked about it last week. Any update on how we are protecting those with disabilities and the state of emergency? And how the county responds to them?
John, did we skip over Brooks part?
We probably did.
The service equity plan, Brooke was,
Yes, we did.
It's
voted.
okay. We're running short on time and we have a lot to talk about. I think what I'll do is send everyone an email about it.
Okay.
If that's okay.
That's it. I just didn't want you to be forgotten,
I
Brooke.
appreciate the reminder.
appreciate that.
It was needed. It was needed. Thank you for the reminder. Brooke, you may not be let off the hook that off. But thank you for the reminder. I'll note it. All right, fire danger or other state of emergency. Is there any update? You have not returned, Lisa says not respond, received a call back from North Clackamas Parks and Recs. How far is your office to North Clackamas Parks and Recs? Is it 5 miles? Is it 20 miles? Or is it maybe next door? It's an honest question. And I'm
From where to where?
okay, where is the office of North Clackamas Park? In ways of Clackamas, North Clackamas Park, and where's your office located?
Isn't the office at the, is it, correct me if I'm wrong, is it at the aquatic park?
I
I
don't
think
know.
they moved it to the old
They did?
Concord School off
Oh, they
McLaughlin.
did? Oh,
Pretty
off of
sure.
McLaughlin, you say?
I'm pretty sure that's where they're at
Okay.
now for headquarters.
All right. So it's not
Hmm.
just across the office, huh?
No, it's not where we're located, that's for sure.
All right. Lisa, you had some ideas on inclusive of aquatic parks. I'm gonna go to that side and we go to fire danger and all that stuff. Do you have any more explanation on what you're looking for and how we can communicate this topic? Or are you right now busy that might be too busy to talk? Not at this time. All right. I think it is important to have inclusive timing. I would love to hear from the council when an event is happening weekly and how they kind of feel left out in an event. What time is the appropriate time to have those type of moments for those with disabilities? In your experiences, what time is the best time for them to have sensory time or sensory or whatever goal that is made, like at the aquatic park, where maybe we feel sometimes left out? No voices. That's okay. To the county, what is the protocol on equal opportunity for those with disabilities and who you service? And these opportunities like at North Clackamas Park or other places that are trying to make an effort, but sometimes they only have it at a time that after the swim team, after payment, or maybe at 7 a.m. What is the protocol for Clackamas County in ways of at least to give us the opportunities, but what would be the best practice in your experiences in communicating? Maybe there should be more opportunities for those with disabilities and the families that serve them.
So John, I think we were talking about this during the planning meeting about the aquatic center, right? And the hours that, sensory hours that people get, and it's like an hour a week, right? I think that's what Lisa was saying.
Yes.
And I think the idea was to have somebody from North Clackamas, there we go, come to one of our meetings or have some questions prepared for them. And I think those questions would be better served for them because we don't really have any say over how they schedule anything, to my knowledge.
No,
So
I
I
understand
feel like that would be a great, if we came up with some questions and could get somebody, maybe if we gave the questions out to them beforehand or had them come to a meeting, that might be a good idea.
I think that would be great, but how do we get in contact when they don't like to contact us as outsiders sometimes? Like Lisa said, they haven't contacted back. Same thing with Johnny in ways of North Clackamas Parks. When we have questions, sometimes it's very hard to contact these people knowing that we're on advisory council for the DD community. And we are trying to make these points in the conversation space, but the space is not being made because we need others to help, at least on my end, to communicate that this is a viable conversation in what we've done. So anyhow, yeah. All right. Yeah, that's why I was mentioning about North Clackamas Park and asking them how far you guys are away from them. Because, yeah, it's hard to.
Not close.
What was that?
I said not close.
No, I understand a little better now. I just want to make sure that we take care of people. All right, fire danger. We will, you know, how we prepare. How do we reach out to you? How do we make meetings?
Dawn, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Could you speak up a little bit, please? Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I hope it's real. But yeah, I hate to overmodulate myself. I apologize. I was on the phone. Let me make sure. Oh, that's right. I see. How's this? A little better or too much?
Good for me.
All right. All right. I am missing your communication on the chat log. What am I missing?
Nothing yet. Lisa is going to reach out again, and then Sarah offered to swing by there if they don't pick up again. And then Lisa confirmed that that was good. So sounds like they'll let us know if they are able to reach out or get contact with somebody. From North.
Okay, I'm gonna raise my hand on this one. Is there any way to understand why some departments can't communicate with other departments sometimes in the history, and sometimes they only have to concentrate on their own department goals? Because to me, it's like integrated media. Oh, you can just go across the hallway and do certain things in ways that nowadays it's kind of standardized. Why is it? Because of the lack of staff? Is it the lack of culture? What is the lack of in cross communications with other departments and ODDS services that I might be missing? That I might need to be understood a little bit better or read about? I'm not counting you guys. I just would like to know the history so I understand something that's so simple for me sometimes in at least first level conversations that have very much interest, but sometimes lacks in what we were trying to accomplish, like at North Clackamas Park. I appreciate your efforts, Lisa, and I think that's a great idea. I thank Sarah Lambert, for swinging on by. But what is the gap? I feel like this is the first time ever we're doing this type of stuff.
Are you asking? Go ahead, Stacey.
I was just going to say, this is the first time. Okay, so I've been here for 22 years. They've never once reached out to our program to ask us what the folks we're serving might need, how they get in touch with people to know what they might be interested or they might need. We've, outside of being given the flyer every, quarterly as they update those things throughout the year. So yes, this is the first time we would be engaging and communicating with them about any of these things. And so maybe that's their delay in responding. I'm not sure. But I can tell you I've been here for 22 years. I have not been involved in any communication between our program and the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. We've had more communication, quite frankly, with Portland Parks and their inclusive recreational program over the years than we have had with North Clackamas.
Yeah. I understand it's more a parent client, relationship on CDDP programs versus the park rec doing this own thing sometimes. So that tells me a lot. And yes, exactly what Tasha's bringing. How can we make it change? And how can we include others who might have other perspectives without trampling over what their desires or their needs are too. So I appreciate that perspective greatly. And outside just North Clackamas Park, it could be any relations like the Veterans Committee or whatnot of my own desires or other committees. So hopefully we can improve that as a council and why I mentioned, why Lisa had a great idea of, trying to expand those opportunities, but that disconnect, also helps to know as we move forward to these ideas and what we hope to bring to the council. So thank you. All right, Brooke, I still want to do fire danger, but let's see what you can do on your side.
You're asking me about fire danger?
No, I'm talking about service equity plan.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So about the service equity plan, we've been presenting, Amy and I have been presenting the service equity plan to our teams within our program. And we have a presentation that we would be happy to give to the council. We don't necessarily, it's about 45 minutes long. We don't necessarily want to use one of your meetings for that, but you have a couple months here where you're not going to have a meeting. And so we were wondering if we could just invite you to a presentation of it either July or August. And if you're interested, you can attend that. And there would be some time for questions and answers as well.
All right, and then maybe we can put them on the side and ask if the council needs to add those questions, on the agenda for future years. That sounds like a good plan. Thank you. I would like to know about natural disasters in the next 2 months, if our people are being taken care of.
Is that for me?
It's for the whole county. That's the main point. And then I do have an advocate question, but I want to make this inclusive if others have questions about what the county needs to know. Any update? Because we're in between budgetary sessions. Sarah.
Sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much in this council meeting. How can we help figure things out in emergency situations? So I mentioned last time, medications were a big deal for us in the adult foster home world, making sure that if we have to evacuate, having enough, because Medicaid doesn't, my information is Medicaid doesn't supply like a week of emergency meds. But then I've also heard that somewhere in the government state part of things, they don't trust providers to have an extra week, which I think is kind of silly. So I don't know what the reason is, but I'd be willing to do work on that part to figure that out. I don't know as a council member where to start with that and what would be the best way to do that. Would it be talking to somebody at the state level? Would it be talking to the pharmacist? Like, I mean, any ideas would be great, but I'd be willing to at least spearhead that part of emergency relief stuff.
I don't know when I can speak and when I can't speak. I do want to say it's my understanding that the thing about medications has to do with whether or not the governor calls for a state of emergency. That only under a state of emergency can things like medications be paid for that otherwise wouldn't from Medicaid, so like an extra supply. I don't know what the tipping points are with that, and I don't know what creates that. I don't know if it's from the county, if it's from the state, and those are things that we're not completely sure of. There is an emergency person now at ODDS by the name of Ash. And so that person has just kind of started with us, with connecting with the different counties, came to us recently. And that is one of the things we brought up with them. But I don't know what is going to happen next in terms of trying to prepare for that. And then what information we can get out to people. And I don't know, Stacy, if you remember anything more of that conversation. Okay.
No. I have no, I don't have haven't heard anything since then.
So would Ash be somebody that I could reach out to and try to get some information from, or what do you think about that, Brooke?
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not. I'll put Ash's email address in the chat, and would encourage you to reach out to Ash directly about, especially if you have ideas from a provider perspective, family perspective. Yes, they came to us and just sort of asked, how did the last emergency go and what did you learn from it kind of thing. But in terms of planning for like actual steps that happen next, we haven't had much contact there. Everything we're doing is really local. So, and
Okay.
I don't recall anything about medication.
Yeah, it's just such a big deal because, you know, so many folks really have some life-sustaining medications, you know, for some. And then when we had the ice storm and some people were out of power for a week, so are the pharmacies. So how, you know, like how do you even get in contact with anybody to get them? It's kind of a big deal. You know, as providers, we provide everything else, but medications, our hands are kind of tied. You know, we can't just get those. So, okay, I see that. Perfect. Thank you.
So, Sasha and a couple others have been talking about the park services and how good that collaboration will be. So we'll take that side. And then Ash Kane at odhs.org and .gov is another thing that Stacy put through. So thank you very much for that. Mimi? You're on mute.
Yes, okay. So I just want to like have questions, just idea. When we were talking about the Clackamas Aquatic Center, it just some questions came to my mind. So in the past, like, is there any like movie theater discounts or zoo? So some of our residents, they want to go to the zoo or to parks, and as we all know, they have like not sufficient budgets for that. They have like activities and stuff like that. So do you think, is there any discounts or we should address, I don't know, just an idea, or I don't know about it. So
That's all right. I think that's very important. I know the county can't endorse things, but they can point out maybe an equity issue on certain topic points maybe. And I know for myself, like I said, I'm trying to gain closer department relationships, like maybe the library.
Yeah.
And but also not to segregate those opportunities. So Mimi, you make a good point in social inclusion and provider help that may or may not need to be discounted or not because of things. I know I talked to some of my musician friends and trying to see if it needs to be front house services, if it needs to be contracted to band, or it needs to be back house routines to help those people who might want to go to concerts with disabilities that may want to go with a provider service, you know, on their own sometimes. I know I would like to see a couple of concerts on my own, and you know, and it's important to bring the people that we feel comfortable with. So is there any way that we can try to communicate this as a council or as a department where, like Stacey said, 22 years working, we're just barely going to city relationships? It's on my radar, Mimi, what I'm trying to point out to you in ways that would help others. I mean, we can use it as, you know, we can use it as certain aspects. I'm not thinking the right word right now where it can be tax deductible or not, or other aspects, but it's very hard where the client has to pay for everything sometimes. And difficult, and you want to go beyond just the North Clackamas Parks. You want to go with real community relationship. Well, I'm not saying it's not real, but you want to go with other community relationship that has professional values that go out in the community that does the same thing in other environments than just one environment. That's what I'm trying to communicate. So yeah. The one question I had on fire danger on my end, I know we only have about 10 minutes. Yes, and then there's also Dave Houston, for example. You're a Special Olympic athlete. I'm not endorsing. I don't know if the deal is still there, but I'm trying to show Mimi there is care in the outside community that might give a discounted program for bowling. Remember, it's summertime. If you have kiddos, remember they get in for bowling for free in bowling alleys in certain areas around town. So, and they have discounted summer programs for bowling, you know, in ways of for parents that want to bowl with each other. So please look at, you know, those type of options, and I would love a list on the adaptive page for the side of the council. in ways that we can try to communicate that to the public. So thank you, Mimi. Is there an idea that I'm forgetting for now? All right. All right. So we right now, Sarah's talking about Orange City and Milwaukee movie theaters giving free movie tickets for caregivers and senior pricing with and aspects of that. So those are important resources out in the community that are known about. But Paige would be fantastic, as Sasha would say. I just think oh no, great. Sorry, not fantastic. I would say fantastic. Anyhow, that would be great. On fire danger, guys, without getting out of the responsibility of that, my question is to your clients: do they have, meaning like the in-home supports and whatnot? Do they have a passport or real ID that qualifies for the Real ID Act and other identifications that can have them cross state lines by airport or by other means of identification? I don't know this question.
We would not know that information.
Why would not your group homes not know that information
Well, the
in
group
the
homes
department?
may know that for the folks that they support. Our department, a county does not know who does and does not have.
Then why
a
do they not
passport or
know
proof
that
of
they're
ID.
going to be safe in another state, in another place, if the group homes are only? I don't know the reason. I'm not mad. I'm just very, very concerned that the department does not know what group homes can do on a national disaster that may or may not have to keep them across state lines, and you still need identification of the clients without risking the ID or HIPAA laws or other ideas. Why is there such a disconnect in a simple question? To me, a simple question that should have data. Is there data at ODDS's level that I should take this up to?
I don't know.
For protection of a national disaster? We can't pretend that we're
I've
going to be.
never, yeah, this has never come up in any of the emergency planning meetings that I've attended. I don't know if it's come up for anybody else. So, and if providers are hearing something from ODDS about it, feel free to share. I don't
know anything.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking the question. I want to make sure the people with disabilities on national disaster have an emergency preparedness kit. I want to make sure that they have the ID that is legal in ways of even with natural supports or non-natural supports, that they can at least be safe while in services with this department. That's what I'm asking. And definitely when you have to move to Washington or other states, making sure that they are being taken care of while crossing certain lines, even to a different county, is going to be my question on a national and how we can improve those metrics. Sarah, we have about 5 more minutes. It looks like. Yeah, please.
As a foster provider, we do have an emergency preparedness plan. There is a form that we fill out that does get submitted to the state. I'm not sure who holds that information, to be quite honest. I just fill it out. And I know that the case managers come in or service coordinators come in and review that. It gets reviewed during licensing every year. But I feel like that most providers, are pretty well equipped to know what their folks need. And hopefully, maybe that's naive on my part, but as a provider, we always make sure everybody has an emergency bag, everyone's ready to go. We have a plan. There's 2 places, local and a non-local place that we write down on our form where everybody would meet or go to if that place was available, things like that. And I know that's reviewed every year by licensing. So there is some version of a plan. Every service coordinator may not know, but the licensing team ought to have access to that because we submit those forms. So
it would be really interesting to see a licensing relationship in this information. Sarah, thank you very much for cutting in. I'm probably going to mention it again. You may have to remind me in the future. And then I'll put one point after that. Lisa.
Does everybody know what OCEAN is? What entity OCEAN is at OHSU? Yes, the majority of us. It stands for Oregon Center for Children and Youth with Special Health Needs. And Tamara Bakewell is like the family lead person, the director, the coordinator. In August of 2021, she put together a group of about, I want to say it was about 10 of us, and it was different stakeholders, and it was, you know, from parents to fire service to a pharmacist to all sorts of titles. And the goal was for us to provide information about what it is that we think families needed in the event of a natural disaster. And this was very much focused on fire and the freezing and a flood and just the things that have happened around our homes. And I just shared, so about 2 weeks ago, so again, this was August of 2021. The group of us got together and we put 3 pages together, listed of all the things that we think should be included. Medications was one of them, just so you know, Sarah. And it was given in 2021 to Peter Mackwell, who is the medical surge planner at OHA. And he came back about 2-3 weeks ago saying, let's do a final review, make sure this is what you all are suggesting. Who's going to volunteer to do that? Which I volunteered to help on that. And I have not been notified of when that's going to happen. But I shared this document just now with Amy. I'm giving her permission to send it to all of you. It is not a final document. It is not stamp of approval at OHA. I don't know what's going to happen to it after we get together again with Peter and Tamara Bakewell and we figure out what's going to stay and what's going to go. But it is a great compilation of all the things we thought were important. If you all review it and maybe give me email suggestions of what you want added to it, I will be your speaker on behalf of that mission when we get back together with OHA.
So it sounds like it's still a work in process from the 2001 project and the way that needs to be updated progress. I know we only have a minute or two. I see the timing of it. I just want to make sure that I appreciate the person that cut in that tried to explain to me what their problems are. I just want to make sure that it's not like the Titanic, no pun intended, in ways of them having enough car spaces for them to root out all the group home, clients in ways of being safe. That's my main concern of fire dangers in the next 3 months, to make sure that they're safe in ways that they have a plan to communicate. So that's, I appreciate
that to them.
And I appreciate your cut in, Lisa. I do. Thank you.
Yeah, so just please read it over and let me know via email if you have anything you want to add to it, because I'll be happy to share that.
And again, it's that inner office collaboration that I'm trying to help, communicate. But Stacey, again, for your perspective in 22 years, this is the first time North Clackamas Park kind of conversations. So this is important in how we open our eyes while we try to make either policy change or do our own thing as a council. And that's one of my main goals is understanding the gaps. So, as a whole, if it's whoever's goals it may be. So I appreciate that. I need to ask for public comment in the next minute in the way of legalities, and then we can move to the last 2 minutes after that. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on behalf of the public and to the council?
Amani, are you still there? I think you had a question maybe or a comment. I want to leave space for that.
Please do. Thank you.
And it's okay. I think I was just mentioning earlier, maybe for the agendas, we can set up a shared document where everybody can see what's listed for the next agenda, and we can make edits and contributions to it.
Yeah, and hopefully the shared document will be with state law. But yes.
Obviously, I mean, we can make it a secure doc, and it would be, shared.
Yeah. All right. Ona, if we want to go 5 minutes over, does anyone have concern on the Ona? I'm sorry to put you over. Amy, you need to leave right away, I take it? No? Okay. Let's get to the Ona topic. It's been very important to you guys, at least for the next 2 months, since we have it off. often that's too much. What is your concerns on ONA and the redetermination project?
So, well, as I read in the chat, it looks like families have started to be notified of their service groupings and their hours. We just saw the sample letter today. We have no idea what the hours say that have been sent out to people yet.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like there's some significant reductions in those hours, things like that. People won't, hours won't be reduced now or in 2024. So, but eventually they could be reduced.
Exactly.
After the
2025 their
maintenance
goal.
of 2025,
Yeah.
after the maintenance of effort. What can be done now is though, really making, I guess there's a frequently asked question document that talks about what can happen now. And I don't know if that came with the letter. Does that come with anybody who received that letter? Did you receive that? Okay, so it's like exceptions process of reviewing the ONA. But if you're at the highest service grouping level of 5, like that's the highest service grouping level somebody can get on that assessment, the only way to get additional hours would be through an exception process. And I don't think that exception process has been fully formulated yet. And so that is what happened also when rates went out for residential. There was the highest level of rate, and if people needed supports above and beyond that in residential services, they had to go through an exception process. So
are they going through the 30% cut process right now? Or is that 2025 where Sasha's saying friends have had their hours gone down by 1/5? Is that maybe the 1/5 part of the overtime that parents were claiming in the hours, or is it just the natural hours that were given by ODDS? What I'm asking is, maybe is there miscommunication on what was before pandemic or during pandemic and after, and then they see this cut down because it's now post pandemic, or what is being cut that's being said cut, and before the 30% cut that go in the future that has been communicated so far.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't been notified of any cuts. In fact, we were hearing the opposite message that very few people would see cuts. So we'll be very interested to see what happens if people are saying that their hours are being reduced by 1/5. I know we'll hear about it. But yeah, there were no. When we go to ODDS meetings where they're talking about this rollout, they keep saying they weren't anticipating very many cuts. So if what you're experiencing is different, we will definitely be watching that.
All right. So prepare for cuts on the service hours in the future for now, depending on language. Sasha.
Yeah, sorry. You had to listen really closely to what ODDS was saying. What they said was that there would be no cuts in relation to how many hours people were able to utilize, not in relation to how many that they were allocated. So because the system is so dysfunctional and people aren't able to actually utilize those hours, they're getting cut because they were just on paper. But that doesn't mean that their kids' needs are any lower than they were before. We're also hearing from behavior families.
Yeah.
Yep.
Public
We're also
record.
hearing.
Right,
I'm fully aware of that, John. We're also hearing from behavior families that their hours are related to whether or not they're able to perform a behavior support plan with a DD services authorized person, whether or not their certification is valid, but it's just whether or not they're kind of signed up with DD, with ODDS. So
I think we've
some
had
pretty
the
significant
behaviors.
challenges.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I don't think when they have, thank you for sharing. And I'll definitely ask some more questions and pay closer attention to the utilized hours versus the authorized hours. And the behavior stuff, I think that there have been a lot of changes in the behavior requirements over the last year. So, and there are certain provider credentials that people have to have. And I do think that they will have to have a, on the behavior side, they're definitely going to have a positive behavior support plan that's reviewed annually, and that if they're ONA, they'll verify that if it's been implemented or being utilized. And so, but there's only a couple questions about that on the ONA, and that would put them in a certain category. But the service group categories only, like I said, go to a 5. So I'm not sure how those hours equate.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
But we're just kind of hearing that the identity of the person who does the behavior support plan seems to be a factor in that. So whether or not they're certified, it doesn't matter so much as whether or not they're registered with ODDS.
Yes, I do think they have to be. Yes, I do think there's a process for that, and that has changed in the last year. So I'll pay closer attention to that as well. But I do think that has changed in the past year, and maybe it's something that now, because it's infecting service hours, we have to pay closer attention to. And they've rolled out so many changes. Now we may be seeing the implications of some of those things. So thanks for sharing.
It's kind of a big deal. So hopefully they can get some more information and accurate information out to folks as soon as possible, because those letters were not it.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
And there's a few, Sasha, at least on my side, that the hours that I use that were decreased in ways that's total a lot. I mean, hours versus the reality of my full budget being cut because of the full budget. If it's a full budget cut in ways of whatnot, I know that, because of the workforce crisis not fulfilling those hours, it's frustrating. And no matter what direction, but if it's what we spent, because the legislators have the budget sheet of what we spent rather than what the total allocation hours are, there might be a little bit more of an issue on some other people where they've already decreased the hours because of the workforce crisis in many ways. So my question to you as the advocate, Stacey, is what is the reassessment process right now and where we are for 2025, and how is the quality managers of the ONA taking account, knowing that you and I have been in some meetings on this and other aspects? Where are we on that process in ways that we can understand better, that if it's total hours and non-total hours, to what the language is in cases that might be hard to assess? I mean, I know I've done 3 or 4 times around seniors and disabilities doing reassessment in ways that they're miscalculations using MS-DOS, in certain ways. So how can we better, what is the process of what's happening? Where's the update for the assessment process, and how are they dealing with cases that are complicated?
So the assessment process remains the same. It has to be done annually. So every 12 months, or as a change in need occurs, and as a change, in higher increased support needs, also decrease in support needs. And there's like a criteria for change in need. Or at least annually. And then in terms of the QA process at the state, I don't think they finalized the entire thing. However, they still do flag assessments. Like if there's some inconsistent questions asked in an ONA, say around mobility, and if somebody doesn't have mobility support needs, say, and they start answering questions funny later in the ONA, it flags it, which means the ODDS does what's called a desk review. They have quality assurance people that review the whole assessment, go over it with the assessors. So they do these sort of flagged condition assessments. They do the training just to become certified is quite extensive. They're going to be doing some inter-rater reliability assessments where they're comparing different people rating the assessments over time. When they have new assessors coming in, they require quarterly trainings At one point, they had to take tests to be recertified. These are just assessors. In Clackamas County, we try to have assessors, certified assessors, do all of our assessments who are current with the training. Other counties do service coordinator reviews, but then you can't make a lot of changes and adjustments to it. And so, but the training is quite extensive. They're still, I don't think they've finalized the whole QA process for it though, John. I think
understand.
we have an upcoming meeting over the summer about that, I believe.
I don't know what meetings
Yeah.
they do, but I just want to make sure that the quality management, when I went to seniors with disabilities for reassessments on other care, the front end care was very, very upfront. And when I talked to people in Washington and whatnot about, using MS-DOS or other complicated cases, I did mention how nice it was to have the front end services to change and rechange, the certification process. So if we can try to implement that type of customer care for the 2025 to 2026, don't you get louder or am I too loud?
It's just, it's unclear to me. I don't know if
yeah.
I'm having a hard, I'm just having to concentrate really hard to see if I can understand.
No, this is where I wish we had audio meters and stuff like that type of accommodation. So I'm going to put it on automatic and hopefully that will take it lower down. Is it better now? Hopefully.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, I'm looking for good front end care for the owner in 2025-26, knowing that there are complicated cases out there, just like the SNAP, just like the OHPs, just like any other, yearly evaluation that we have to have for the ISP, et cetera, et cetera. So if we can improve on that, that would be great. Sasha, you definitely may have another concern, or is that a hand that's been forgotten to put down?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to lower it.
Absolutely no problem. I mean, issues are issues on complicated cases. Definitely when we get one word sometimes versus the reality of how Clackamas County gets the word, 9 months later in certain aspects. So it's frustrating. I can definitely relate to that in ways of getting letters and looking threatening, but that front end care, like Social Security reviews or whatever, and having resources like that would definitely be something on my case, would definitely help out. And doing it 4 or 5 times, it's very frustrating. But knowing that you're not alone because they're using MS-DOS and other aspects of the entering process might be something else to communicate later on my end. Colleen, Sarah, whoever else is there, you have any questions on ONA as we wrap it up? Okay, I hope you guys and the people that you serve are being served properly and your space here is being known, okay? And I appreciate your time, everyone. All right, I think I'm closing out the meeting 15 minutes late. It looks like our next meeting is September. And I hope there were some questions you guys had that were answered. And I hope that it's not just about me because, sometimes we have to work as a community. So that's what my goals are. And is there anything else that we should know in the next 2 months that will come up on your guys' end that might shock us in the world, that, that might be good for the good of the order, or something that we should know about? Oregon buys, any OPA, anything in the future that's coming up in ways? I think we're all done for today. I'm gonna have to call the meeting to an end. Does someone want to second that?
I'll second it.
All right, we had a discussion. Let's vote for it. In a way, the meeting, clapping, yes. Open mouth means no, party means abstain. I'll put a clap for today. All right, so a thumbs up too, it's fine. All right, meeting adjourned. I think we did everything. Amy, anything else I need to consider on how we end this meeting? Good luck, guys. Thank you for spending another 15 minutes as we have a couple months off. And don't forget to give Amy her the ideas of what we can add on and what your dream of what time and how to run meetings in ways that I have my own ideas too. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.